Hi crafty friend, it's Justine Dvorak from Stationery by Justine, where when I craft my world stands still. Today I'm going to make a mini slimline shaker using stamps from Pajama Crafter Stamps, and I'm using the set Dog Days of Summer. It is super cute, it's got a lot of scene building elements to it, and I'm going to build a pool. But before I build the pool, I need my little critters and background pieces to be stamped out. So I will just use my Misty with some black Memento ink and Copic friendly paper. The paper I'm using is from Pajama Crafter Stamps. It is what I love to use for Copic coloring. And it is called Marshmallow cardstock from Pajama Crafter Stamps. It does blend very nicely as well. So if you use ink blending, I would recommend that paper as well. I needed to re-ink my stamp head here, so pardon that moment, but a little reminder that you can also re-ink your ink pads. Don't buy a whole nother one when you can re-ink it. All right, that's looking much better. I'm really loving the new release from Pajama Crafter Stamps. Their summer stuff is so cute. It's skewed, if you will. And I used the same stamp set here on a live on my channel. I made a penny slider card, a double penny slider card. Say that 5 times fast. And it was so cute. It kind of coordinates with this one, and it was a 5x7 card. So if you're interested, check out my live videos on my channel and it will be there. So I'll just put my stamps back so I don't lose any of them. Have you ever lost a stamp in your craft area? I certainly have, and it just kind of kills the mood, you know? So you got to make sure you put your materials away. All right, let's get to the coloring part of this part of the video. I wanted to use the background pieces to make my shaker. So what I'm going to do is fussy cut out all of the bottom of the pool area because I'm going to use a sparkle cardstock and shaker elements to make the pool. So once I have that all fussy cut out, I can start my coloring. Now I use Copic markers. You do not have to use Copic markers if you don't want to. You can use anything to color these stamps. You could use colored pencils. You could use skinny tip markers of any kind. You just have to be mindful about the ink choice that you use. So Copic markers are alcohol markers. So I'm using a water-based ink because alcohol and water do not really have a problem with each other for stamping. But if I used more of an archival ink with my Copic markers, that would not be good because alcohol does affect that kind of a stamp. So I wouldn't use like an embossing powder ink unless I heat embossed it first. That would be fine. So just keep that in mind. If you're using a water-based marker, you're going to want to change your ink to be something that is going to work well with your stamp. Otherwise, when you're coloring, you will get a lot of blending and bleeding from your lines of your stamp with your coloring. And that's just not really the look that I prefer. So just thought I would mention that for you. To me, these two little doggies could be different breeds depending on the colors that you use. I kind of went the husky route. So there's two little husky puppies, and I think they could make really cute corgis as well if you colored them like a corgi would be colored. So some of them are like black and gray, some of them are brown or tan and white. So it just depends on the look you're going for, basically. But I'm going for like a little husky doggy moment. And of course the little noses are going to be dark because usually dogs have darker noses, basically a dark black or a dark brown. Then I did color his little tongue because it's sticking out, so just a little teeny bit of pink. Speaking of pink, we're going to bump up the color with this flamingo floaty. I love that he's not just in a regular little floaty inner tube. It's a flamingo inner tube. I think that is so fun, and it really adds to the look of everything. I am not as familiar with my Copic markers with the pinks, so I wanted to test them out and let them kind of dry a little bit and see what colors I was going to use. So as I did that and let that dry, I'm going to color up my little beach ball with some reds. These two reds are my favorite colors for coloring with my reds. It's R39 and R29. For whatever reason, I just really like that blend. Then I am adding a little bit of C1 to the beach ball and also adding it in little dots on the towel because it does help create a little bit of a texture for the towel and a little bit of shading on the beach ball. Then for the little sunscreen bottle, it's so teeny tiny, but I did use a little blue and yellow to decorate that. So sweet and so simple, but it just is great. All right, I am happy with these two pinks. It's RV06, and then it is RV21, if I remember correctly. I'll have to look at the lid, but they're very, very bright. And I think it's perfect for this flamingo. He just looks so happy and cozy. This card really made me want to go swimming, but you know, such is life. Oh, I did misspeak. It is RV04. That's my lighter pink there. And it does kind of bleed and blend nicely with that first pink. Not a whole lot of shading and such happening there. Just putting the dark on some of those puckered areas of the floaty and the shaded areas, and then lighter on the top. Now, I did just remember that flamingos actually don't have this yellow beak, but it happened on this project, so that's that. But they actually have like a black tip on their beak. I just actually, I just colored a pretty large flamingo stamp this weekend at, what's it called? Paperganza. And I looked up a picture of the flamingo, and the crafter next to me, Kim, also looked up a picture of the flamingo, and it was very helpful for coloring. But yeah, they don't have a yellow beak. It's kind of like a pink, white, and then it goes down to a black tip. But you live and you learn, and I have the stamp set so I could color it again another day. And for this little guy's inner tube, I wanted it to coordinate nicely with all the bright colors that I had going on here. I do think it did get a little bit dark, but blue and orange are complementary colors, so I wanted it to complement my background. It's going to be almost a neon blue for the pool, so I thought that orange would look nice with that. Now I'm going to make the edge of the pool. I'm going to use some cool tone colors here just to give it a little bit of shading and blend it out into a pretty light C1 in the middle. Remember, the only way to get better at coloring is to practice, so that's what we're doing here today. All right, for my blue sky, I wanted it to be pretty neutral and not really be the star of the show. I'm only using one blue color for coloring my whole sky. I'm carefully coloring in between the fence areas just so it is kind of carrying that sky through the background. And then I'm going to pretty dramatically lay down some color here with the side of my marker and then go in to those little details. And then I will do a few more swipes just so it blends a little bit more and it doesn't look like I went into those little areas. And when I do those swipes, it just kind of blends the sky out a little bit more. Swipe, swipe, swipe. It's all good. few more details, and that should do it. Now for the rest of my background, it is grass and bushes. Just kidding. I have a little more details that I needed to work out there, apparently. But you could definitely make your grass another textured cardstock. I won't be doing that today, but you certainly could fussy cut out right underneath the bushes and add that extra detail, but I figured I would just color it. So I'm using my darkest green here and just kind of outlining the bushes with that dark green and outlining where the artist Michelle, she's the artist who drew this stamp set, where she put the little bushy areas on the bush, the bushy bush. And then I'm going to take my darkest green here and just outline the edge of the pool. That will give a little bit of a fun texture. And then take my dark green still and just do a little bit of shading where the bushes are, as if it were a little bit darker. I am really going to lay down the ink here on this grass. I do think it got a little dark for my preference, but like I stated before, it's good to practice and work with everything just to see how it goes. And I can always make more cards with this stamp set because it is a stamp set that you can reuse over and over again, which is a benefit of these clear stamps. Plus, Pajama Crafter Stamps has really high quality stamps, so they are going to hold up to reusing multiple times. Now I'm going to take one more swipe of that dark green just to help blend it a little bit more. It was looking very, very neon, and I wasn't loving that, although it does get a little bit dark, but such is life. If you do like other dog stamps, Pajama Crafter Stamps does have a few other sets that are dog themed. So if that is something you're interested in, check out their website. I will have a link in the description of this video for Pajama Crafter Stamps, and that is an affiliate link. I'm going to slice off the sides of my scene here, and this will basically help me learn where my card dimensions will be. I'm going to make my own shaker pocket. Yes, it can be done. I did not love doing it. Just being really honest with you, I didn't love doing it. I think it's way easier to use one that is made by a company, but I had this card idea in mind, and it was one of those situations where I had to make the card ASAP, and I just decided to do it. So I've gone ahead and fussy cut all my little critters out, and I'm going to add white gel pen. I like Jelly Roll number 10 for adding the highlighted areas for my pieces. This is also a great way to cover up any mistakes that you might have had with coloring. If something got out of the lines, you can add that white detail to cover up some marker. Just remember that that gel pen does take a little bit of time to dry, so be careful with putting your finger on it. Your finger will act like a little stamp, and your fingerprint will definitely get in there. So just keep that in mind. As I stated, I am making my own shaker pouch. Originally, I thought I would do this. I'm going to leave this part on the video just because it might help someone out, but I thought about using my scoring tool on my paper trimmer here to kind of help give the plastic a little piece to kind of curve around my paper. This ends up not working at all, so maybe it will work for you if you try it, but it wasn't it. So I'm actually going to just wrap it around my piece with some double-sided adhesive, and that's going to be the thing we're going to do here for this card. By the way, this paper is discontinued. It was from Spellbinders, but any sparkly blue cardstock would work if you want to recreate this card. So I have my piece of plastic there. I have some double-sided sticky tape, and I'm just going to line the edge of the back of my piece on all 4 sides. I'm not taking the relief tape off the back of all 3 sides, just doing one at a time. I find whenever I do shaker pouches, it is very important to go in a certain direction. And I am going to cut little lines here on the corners so it folds nicely. But it's important to do the sides opposite of each other. And I do find this to be helpful even when using shaker pouches from different companies. Don't just go around in a circle, do opposite sides. So if you do the long side, go across your project and do the long side next, keeping your paper pushed down and not having a whole air bubble underneath or some extra air down there. You want it to be nice and flat. I am using the scoring tool from Trinity just to keep everything scored nicely and trimming those corners. So I'm going across my project next and pressing that down. And then I'm going to cut away any excess pieces of plastic there just to keep it not too bulky. So I have my 2 sides, and then I'll do the one little side. So I'm just going to pre-fold that with my scoring tool, cut the excess off, and then take that relief tape off, pressing my paper down and doing that last fold. This gets the pocket to be flat and it won't be buckling weird. Now I get to fill my shaker, which is my favorite part about shakers, is going to my embellishments and picking what I want. I'm going to use these little blue pieces. They are called Mermaid Tail from Pajama Crafter Stamps. They are so cute and gorgeous and little. I love the size of them, and they're perfect for this project. I'm also going to add some of these flat back sequins to my project as well. And I'm using a little tidy tray that is also from Pajama Crafter Stamps. They sell them in a pack of 3, and they're just really cute and little. And they matched my project today, which I thought was extra fun. Now to finish my shaker, I'm going to take that last piece off, press my paper down as much as I can. Oops, I forgot to pre-crease it. So I've put my tape back on, cut the excess. Okay, now I'm ready to close it. All right, one last really good crease on those sides, and ta-da, I have a whole shaker pouch with no foam or no crazy glue. All right, I have my piece here. The dimensions are really not that important. It's a mini slimline. There's quite a little bit of difference of opinion online for what is a mini slimline, so do with that what you will, but I'm calling it a mini slimline. It's about 3.5 inches by 6 or 7. I can't remember. I think it's 6. So I'm going to go ahead and just put something heavy over that. I'm using my die cutting plates and a whole box of dies. And then went and had a little coffee break and came back and we're ready to put the next layer on my card. And I am using liquid glue to adhere all of my layers to my project. If you wanted your shaker card popped up, you could certainly put foam behind that shaker and it would give extra dimension, but you don't need to. I'm really loving that little flamingo dog. I keep looking at it and it just is making me smile all the time. And if you have a dog, I would love to know what kind of dog you have. So let me know down in the comments. What kind of dog do you have, and maybe a special memory you have with your little doggy. We have a family dog and he lives at my parents' house and he is just such a hoot. I think my favorite memory with my little chicken nugget, that's what I call him, is when my mom first got him. I was in college and I was just so shocked that she had this dog, and the cat and the dog did not get along. So when I got married, I kept the cat and the dog is at my mom and dad's house, but I love them both. Speaking of dog, I'm going to do a little bit of card surgery on this cutie pie dog here. I'm going to cut his little arms apart. I don't know the right word there. Apart is kind of a good word, I guess. And I'm going to put his arms and his paws so it looks like he is holding this ball. And this is a good reminder that if the stamp set is yours, you can cut and you can make your stamps and projects look like how you want them. So if you want the dog to hold the ball, like me, cut the arm off and move the arm to where you want. I think this is going to look so cute. It's going to look like he's floating. Plus, this dog is a little bit bigger in size compared to the other two dogs, so it makes sense to have him in the foreground, which is the bottom of my card, because it will look like the dog is closer to the person who is looking at the card. For adding on my stamped images, I'm going to add liquid glue behind. You could certainly use foam or double-sided adhesive, but I do think that liquid glue gives me just a tiny bit of wiggle room and extra time for positioning the items just where I want them. Now I'm going to be a little bit crazy pants and fussy cut out the paws on these hands even more than before. So it's holding the ball. It kind of looks like he is floating with the ball. Then to clean up those edges, I am adding a little bit of black on the edge. I use a Sharpie. It doesn't need to be anything really that specific. And then I'm going to finish the card with the sentiment, Dog Days of Summer. Let me know what you think about this card down in the comments. And if you liked or learned anything from this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel for more videos, and head over to the Pajama Crafter Stamps YouTube channel as well. There's a lot of great inspiration over there just waiting for you. So we'll see you next time. Bye, crafty friend.